Hi guys, welcome to the show. It is your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio, and I am super excited to be here on this beautiful Monday morning. All right, so let me know how your day is going. Let me know how your weekend was because I would absolutely love to hear everything that you have to say. So please feel free to go ahead and text me. Don't be shy because I would love to hear everything that you did over the weekend, and also whether you finally got some of the well-deserved rest that you really wanted. All right. Now let's actually head into today's conversation. Now I know it's a beautiful Monday morning, but also we need to talk about Afghanistan. We need to talk about how the withdrawal for the date of withdrawal for troops is in fact getting closer, and the final day is tomorrow. But obviously, Britain has already uh, left Afghanistan. All right. So that is what we're going to be talking about. But before we actually head into that conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can, in fact, be a part of the show. All you need to do is just text me or call me on 07852473473. Share your thoughts, share your opinions, because I would love to hear everything that you have to say. All right. And also, while you're at it, don't actually forget to go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and also to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, because that way you can actually make sure that you're listening in live, and also that you are checking out our videos from the very first place that you can find it, right, which is YouTube. And don't forget to go download our app either, because that's available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and updated about everything that happens in the world. So regardless of whether it's science, sports, technology, health, whatever it is that you want to be informed about, well, we make sure that you're informed about all of it. So make sure to stay tuned. All right. And now let's actually head into the conversation, because we're going to be talking about how Britain rather has finally ended its 20-year Afghan campaign. All right. And the reason we obviously need to talk about this is the final United Kingdom flight carrying troops and diplomatic personnel has actually left the Kabul airport right now. This was actually on Saturday, and this brought about an end to Britain's 20-year campaign in Afghanistan. All right. Now, it's important for you to keep in mind that when it came to the war in Afghanistan, Britain did in fact play an active role in there, right? So we're also going to be talking about, some of these refugees that were left behind, and we're going to be talking about if we actually owe some of these people to come back to the United Kingdom, because I personally feel like we do, simply because we played an active role there. So I feel like, what, we have more responsibility than what we have done for the time being. Okay, now the last evacuation flight, like I said, left earlier on Saturday, and about 14,000 people were in fact airlifted out of Afghanistan by British forces, right? And this happened all in the span of less than 2 weeks actually. And this was also confirmed by the Ministry of Defense. Right now, to very quickly talk about the situation in Afghanistan, this rapid takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban was in fact something that not necessarily unexpected, but rather, it was so sudden. Nobody expected it to happen that fast, right? I mean, look, everyone knew that this was going to happen someday, but nobody expected it to happen that fast, right? And obviously, with the President Ashraf Ghani, or rather the former president of Ashraf Ghani, actually fleeing the country, it actually made it very easier for this militant group to actually take control of Kabul, to take control of the country, right? Now it's important to keep in mind that even before, they did control most of the strongholds within Afghanistan, and that was obviously one of the biggest issues, right? And obviously, we also need to talk about how while that happened, they promised that women would be allowed to have specific rights, have certain rights, like the right to education, like the right to work, as long as it was within as long as it was within the Islamic mainframe, as long as it was between or rather, as long as it was within the Sharia law, right? So that was also there. But obviously, there has been this question of, what, like, are these people actually going to get rights, especially women? Because in the past, when the Taliban was in control, that is not what we saw. So that is also something we need to keep in mind, right? Now, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson actually said that now was in fact the time to reflect on the United Kingdom's mission in Afghanistan. All right, because 20 years ago, in the wake of the 9/11 attacks, the first British soldier did in fact set foot on Afghan soil, aiming to create, this brighter future for the country and all its people. Okay, and the departure of the last British soldiers from the country is in fact a moment to reflect on everything that the United Kingdom has sacrificed and everything they have achieved in the last 2 decades. All right, and basically something else that he said was that the nature of our engagement in Afghanistan may have obviously changed, but our goals for the country have not. We will now use all the diplomatic and humanitarian tools at our disposal to actually preserve the gains of the last 20 years and give Afghan people the future they deserve. Okay, now the Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer also said that he pays tributes to the brave men and women of their armed forces who have actually done so much to provide the opportunity of a new life to so many, and also the diplomatic staff and military personnel as well, and that they should be very proud of the heroic work that they have done. And that obviously the fact of the matter is that we owe them a great debt of gratitude, right? And it is now for the government to actually urgently set out a plan for those that have been left behind. All right, so that is what the conversation is about. Now make sure to stay tuned because we're actually going to head into a small break right now, and after that we will be back to discuss this further. So obviously until then, make sure that you stay tuned.
Are you looking to achieve the most relevant qualification to kickstart your career? Then reward yourself with the best globally recognized professional business qualification, CIMA. Irrespective of the field you aspire to succeed in, a CIMA qualification can add immense value to your resume and professional life. Succeed in your CIMA journey with supportive tuition provided by qualified lecturers and resources. Nanaska is the leading registered CIMA tuition provider in Sri Lanka with over a decade in the industry and hundreds of success stories. With qualified and certified tutors, Nanaska now provides easy access 100% virtual classes so that you could succeed at your exams and in life right from the comfort of your home. At Nanaska, it's not just about a qualification, we help you think out of the box and build a personality. Exciting offers also await students overseas. Enroll now. Call +94 77 499 7338 or visit www.nanaska.com. Commence your CIMA journey at Nanaska and become a globally recognized leader. Nanaska, smile with results.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It is your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and you're tuned into the sunrise, and I'm here to keep you company all the way until 9 a.m. So make sure to stay tuned and keep yourself updated about everything that is happening in the world. All right. Now we're currently talking about how Britain has finally ended its 20-year campaign in Afghanistan, but before that, I feel like we very quickly need to talk about how coronavirus cases in the United Kingdom is in fact 26 times higher right now than it was last year, right? Now, obviously, with the vaccination drive and everything, you'd assume that by this time, the rate in which COVID-19 actually spreads, the rate in which this infection spreads, and the rate in which people are dying would in fact have reduced, right? However, with this new Delta variant, with schools reopening, with colleges opening as well, it has also been said that COVID-19 is in fact 26 times higher in the United Kingdom than it was last year. All right, so let's actually talk about that a little bit. But before we do that, I want to very quickly, talk to you about, or rather tell you that you can get in touch with me on 078-52473473. Share your thoughts, share your opinions, because I would love to hear everything that you have to say. But also, while you're at it, something that you can do is definitely to go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and also to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that way you can actually make sure that you are always informed and listening to the very latest on Relaks Radio through our socials. All right. And if you want to be informed about what we're talking as well, then that is in fact the best way. So go follow us on our socials and like us on our socials as well. Okay. And now let's actually, or rather, before we head into the conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that our app is in fact available for download. So please do feel free to go ahead and download it. It's available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store for your convenience. Okay. And now let's actually head into our conversation, because we're going to be talking about how coronavirus cases in England are in fact 26 times higher than last year. All right. Now, like I said, there are so many reasons for this, right? Even though people are getting vaccinated, schools are reopening, universities are reopening, people are sort of, going back to normal, that they're going back to how their lives used to be before the pandemic. And with that, even after, all of these restrictions were lifted on the 19th of July, there was actually no legal requirement for these people to wear masks, right? And obviously with that, there has been an increase in the COVID-19 cases, but we'll talk about that right now. Coronavirus infections in England are in fact now 26 times the level that were experienced this time last year. And this is according to the Office for National Statistics. Okay. So scientists actually describe these figures as sobering, right? And they warn that the reopening of schools in England this week was in fact very, very likely to trigger further rises in COVID cases, with more to follow when students actually return to universities and colleges. Okay. Now, a fresh wave of infections could in turn lead to new social restrictions being imposed as winter approaches, right? Now we know winter season is basically flu season, right? Along with winter comes a whole bunch of new flus, right? And obviously, with COVID-19 still being there and us not really being able to reduce the rate of infection, reduce how fast it spreads either, even though we've been vaccinated and we have an additional immunity, the truth is the Delta variant is something we've never, it has the likes of something we've never seen before, right? And as a result, pressure is in fact mounting on the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunization to actually approve the deployment of booster jabs for vulnerable people and the extension of vaccinations to most 12 to 15-year-olds. All right. And this latter move would also bring the United Kingdom into line with the United States and most European nations. And it's also backed by most ministers. All right. So that is what the conversation is about. Now, make sure to stay tuned because we're going to be heading into a small break right now. And after that, obviously, we will be back to discuss this further. So until then, make sure to stay tuned.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And